morning, everyone. Welcome to this lecture on demonstrative speeches. You're live right here in my mom's kitchen because this is the new Graham Bucks. That's what I used to call Starbucks, but now I'm confined to Graham Bucks. So I hope that you're finding your online learning is going well or as good as can be expected. I know that a lot of you have had some challenges, and just remember, I'm here to help you in any way that I can. But today, I'm going to keep this lecture brief, probably about, 6-7 minutes long, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about demonstrative speeches. So when we talk about demonstrative speeches, we're talking about basically a how to do something, right? So you're going to provide the audience with instructions on performing a certain task by using certain materials. Some examples that I think of when I think of what is a demonstration speech could be how to change a tire, how to perform CPR, how to tie a Windsor knot in a tie, how to fold the perfect shirt, how to fold a sweatshirt into a hoodie. These are some examples of things that I've had before. But really, the sky's the limit on how to do something. And we'll get some more into some details later on in this lecture, right? So when you think of the outline of your demonstration speech, it's going to be very similar to the outlines that you've done for your informative and visual aid speeches, as well as your persuasion, possibly somewhat. There's still an introduction, a body, and a conclusion. That's the thing that you need to remember. In your introduction, you still have an attention getter, and you also tell them what you're going to do. So, this is an off-the-cuff example, so just go with it. Let's say I am going to make or show my audience how to make buffalo chicken dip, right? My attention getter may be running low on time and need that perfect appetizer to take to your next family function. Well, today I'm going to show you how you can make the perfect buffalo chicken dip in under 5 minutes. Simple as that, right? So I've told them why. Like, it's basically the attention getter is, they don't have time, they need to have a dish, and I'm going to show them how to make the perfect buffalo chicken dip. So something like that would be a quick example of what you could do to get their attention, okay? Now, in the body, you want to provide them a list of materials or ingredients they're going to need to perform the task. So for example, what I want you to remember in this section is everything they need to perform the task should be included in this section. So if I was going on with my buffalo chicken dip example, I would not only need to tell them the ingredients needed to make it, but if they need a spoon to stir it or a fork for some reason, or if they need a crock pot, I want to make sure I include all of those in my list of materials or ingredients. You then in your body want to explain how to do certain things, right? You want to show the stages of production for whatever you're telling the audience how to do. You want to list all the materials, as I said. So for going on my buffalo chicken dip example, I might say, for the buffalo chicken dip, you're going to need a large glass bowl that is microwavable. You're going to need a spoon, preferably a tablespoon or a serving spoon that you can stir all of your ingredients with. You're going to need a can of chicken, which is not my preference, or 3 cooked chicken breasts diced. You're going to need a container of ranch dressing, any brand will do, and you're going to need 2 blocks of cream cheese. Again, they're 8-ounce blocks and any brand will do. And you're going to need your favorite jar of hot sauce. All right, so something like that. And then I would also say, and a hand mixer, okay? Something like that. Now, if I was talking about something more technical, I would provide them any vocabulary they would need to know. Now, that would be, so if you're doing something, I want to say field specific. So if you're showing the audience something that has to do with engineering, and we may not all be engineers, or if you're showing us how to do something with, a hunting equipment, so that we may not know about, then you may need to provide us with some vocabulary so that we as the general audience can understand, okay? Also, you need to make sure that your audience can see the materials, okay? So this can be tricky, so you need to make sure the audience can see the materials. Now, normally, in class, sometimes we offer visual aids, but actually, since you're at home, you shouldn't need any visual aids. You're going to be just recording this, so you should be able to show us how to do it, right in your video. Another thing for this speech is our dress code is always for our main speech is business casual, but for this speech, if you have something that you can dress the part, then you're allowed to dress the part. For example, if I am a gymnast, I could wear a gymnast costume. Or if I, do martial arts and I'm going to show you some martial arts moves, then I could wear my martial arts uniform and so on. So you could consider dressing the part if that's appropriate for this speech. Now, one thing you need to be particularly cautious about are fillers, and here's why. When you're doing a demonstrative speech, a lot of times you're actually performing it. So for example, back to my buffalo chicken dip example, if I was unwrapping the cream cheese, my mind is thinking about unwrapping it, right? So I'm not necessarily talking to my audience. Well, this is a speech. We have to limit that dead air time. So in order to do that, I need to come up with facts, figures, alternatives, variations of the product, anything I can that I can throw out to the audience as I'm concentrating on opening my cream cheese. So maybe when I'm opening my cream cheese, I say to them, hey, if you're looking to save a few calories, you could also use low-fat or fat-free cream cheese in this recipe. It's a nice alternative and it tastes just as delicious. Or I might want to fill it in with some kind of a statistic like this is made up. Did you know that on Super Bowl Sunday, 1 million Americans eat buffalo chicken dip in the comfort of their own home? So, those are just some ideas of how you can do that. Another example would be a variation of the product. So if you don't like hot sauce, did you ever try making this recipe and substituting your favorite barbecue sauce in it to make a barbecue chicken dip? Well, try it. You won't be disappointed. So you could try some things like that to keep that dead air time to a minimum, okay? The other thing you need to do is you need to make sure you explain the demonstration in steps that the audience can follow along and easily understand. So for this speech, one of the things is don't make it too complex, all right? You want to make sure that there are a reasonable amount of steps. So I've had an example of this would be I had a student one time do origami, and it had so many steps that halfway through the class had given up on trying to replicate this demonstration because it was too hard for the audience to follow. Another thing is your steps should be detailed. So you shouldn't assume that if you're doing something, you need to tell us, basically. You don't assume just because you're doing it, we're going to follow. The way I like to think about it is if my eyes are closed, I should be able to hear you and replicate what you're doing if I was to then open my eyes and perform the task. So everything you're doing, you need to say, okay? Finally, that brings us to the conclusion. In the conclusion, you want to review your steps briefly. You want to make sure you then tell the audience basically how what you've taught them is going to help them. All right. So, hey, now I've showed you how to change your tires. So the next time you're alongside the road, you won't be stranded. You can go ahead and change it yourself and get right back on the road and driving, right? Whatever it may be. Suggest how it can better their lives. I know this was a quick 9-minute version of demonstration speeches, but I hope that this will give you what you need to have a fantastic demonstrative speech. Remember, if you need me for anything, reach out. I am here to help you. That is my sole purpose. I am on my computer working every single day. And if you email me before I go to bed, I usually get back to you before bedtime. Otherwise, I'll get back to you in the morning. You all have my cell phones. Don't hesitate to use it because I want to make sure that you all continue to succeed in this class. Thanks, everyone. We'll see you again next week.